we went through the exercise using the trailhead or using the step-by-step process in the trailhead or this trail on trailhead. Okay, so we got this far. We got up until step 5. But just to recap what we're trying to do, okay? We're integrating marketing cloud account with a CRM instance, a sandbox version of a CRM. And what we accomplished yesterday was we created a system user in the CRM, and we created an equivalent user in Marketing Cloud. And we, in step 5, we're going to, essentially, we're building a bridge between both systems. That's the goal of this exercise. Connect both systems so that data can flow between both sides. All right, that's what I mean when I say we're building a bridge. So we're going to complete this exercise most likely today, because given that we've gotten this far, we are close to the end of it. So just to recap, to complete this exercise, typically you need to have one dedicated user in the CRM with the Salesforce administrator license or the Salesforce administrator role or profile, and a full Salesforce license. And you also need to have one dedicated user in Marketing Cloud with the highest level of access, which is the combination of the admin and Salesforce Marketing Cloud admin roles. Okay, so once you have that, you'll be able to create this handshake between your Marketing Cloud account and your CRM. Okay, so let's continue with step 5. We went through the prerequisites, we've installed the managed package, we've configured the CRM, we've configured Marketing Cloud. Now let's finalize our configuration. So the next step is configuration of the connected app settings in the CRM. So we need to log into the CRM with our personal admin credentials. Okay, so they need to be logged in as, so let's see, who are we logged in as right here? We're logged in as the integration user. Okay, so let's go to users. So I need to log in as this guy, not the integration user. Let's see. In my sandbox, do I have that user? Okay, I will need to get this login details. So the username is this. So I'll just put this in an email. Username. And I need to create a new password for this. So let's make good news. Yes, set password. Okay. All right, I'm doing a password reset because I need to log in as a regular user, not the integration user as shown here. All right, so I'm just going to complete this password reset and then I'll log in. Okay. It's done. And I think it likes my new password. So let's go ahead use it. All right, I'm going to log out from the integration user profile and log in as my other user. Okay, so let's move this here. So you see now I'm logged in as the other user, not the integration user, because that's the requirement here. Log in with your personal admin credentials, not the integration user. So now we have to go to setup and go to connected apps. So we'll go to setup. Connected apps, and then looking for Marketing Cloud app. Oh, this is the right window. So let's find the Marketing Cloud app. So that's the one. What are we doing with it? We are going to click on Edit Policies. Edit Policies. Under the permitted users, select admin approved users are characterized. Okay. Admin approved users appear authorized, and then say OK. Click OK, and then relax edit restrictions. So, on step 6, relax IP restrictions under refresh token policy. Immediately expire. Okay. The next step is save. So we're doing all this because that's what is required. They provide some context here, but you all have access to the URL for this trailhead or this trail. Okay, so now manage permission sets. And scroll here. So select, all right, selecting this. And then we're going to save. Save, okay. So next is to complete the managed package configuration. So we have to search for this in setup. Process automation settings, okay. Default workflow user. A user with a system admin. Okay, so we have to select a user with the system admin. We don't want the instructor, we want the integration user. Okay, so we know this user has system admin profile, so we'll select that. So they suggest using the CRM API user account, which in other words is your integration user, the user that you've created specifically for the purposes of building that bridge, which is what we're referring to here. So we'll keep going. So once we've done that, approval, submit. Everything else is fine. We'll click on save. So this is an important step. Skipping it prevents the managed package from working properly. So next thing we have to do is session settings. Okay, session settings, scroll to the bottom and click save. Okay, we're at the bottom, so we'll just click on save. So I know we searched for it, we scrolled to the bottom and we clicked on save. We didn't change anything, and that's because that's what we've been asked to do by this process. So moving on, now it's time to connect your accounts using the setup wizard. Okay, so now we're going to the main menu inside of the CRM. So we'll come here and then, so you know these instructions are a bit old because see here, it says click the plus icon to navigate to the all tabs screen. I don't think there's a plus icon anymore. This is the replacement for the plus icon. So previously, we were unable to see this tab or this app available here. But now we're able to see it because we've downloaded the managed package, and now we're going to complete the setup for this exercise that we're doing, this bridge that we're building. So one thing I need to double check is to make sure I am not logged into any other Salesforce instance, and I am also not logged into Marketing Cloud. All right, so we'll make sure. That's just a good practice to keep in mind. Make sure you're not logged into any other production or sandbox instance of Salesforce when you're going through this process, because you don't want to mistakenly connect the wrong org to a Marketing Cloud account. You'll have to go through the whole process again if you do that. So click on Marketing Cloud and click Verify Remote Site. Okay, so let's move this way. Click on Marketing Cloud. Now, you won't be able to see this app in any Salesforce CRM that's not integrated with, that's not integrated with Marketing Cloud. So what's this about? You do not have, okay, so when you're going through this process, if you get this error message, it's not a cause for alarm. What you need to do is go to setup and then go to that user and make sure two things. First of all, make sure, so we logged in as our integration user, right? Oh, hold on. Let's make sure. So what you need to do is make sure that user has the following. They have the marketing user checkbox checked off. They have these two boxes checked off. So let's make sure those two boxes are checked off. Yes. And then I'm going to check for one last thing, which is the permission set that we created. Did we apply it to this user? So permission set. Okay, so it was assigned yesterday. That's the one, and I think we're fine. So now let's go back and try that again. Okay, we'll close that window. We'll duplicate this and do it again. So let's set for Marketing Cloud. Okay. Folks, as I go through this, please feel free to ask questions. All right. Okay, so this is what we're supposed to see, right? The first time we tried it, it didn't work, but now we're getting what we're supposed to see. Okay, question number one of the day. Jane I'm going to unmute you. Please tell us where you work, what industry that is, and then proceed with your question.
Hi, my name is Jane. I work in, the tech industry. I have a quick question about the integration user. Do you actually have to be logged in as the integration user, or can you use the login as feature while doing this connection and integration?
Can you repeat the last part of your question? So
I said, can you use the login as feature, or do you actually have to be logged in as the integration user?
Right. So you have to be logged in, not using the login as feature. Because the login as feature, you're essentially mirroring what the actual person will see. So this is what you're talking about. No, this is not good enough. You have to be logged in as the person, as the user, not person.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if the login feature was an option, it will be in the trail, but I haven't come across it, so. Okay, so moving on, we clicked on Marketing Cloud. The window we were supposed to see was this one that says Verify Remote Site, and now we see it. So now we're going to say, click on that, and then click OK. So Verify Remote Site, we've successfully added that, and OK. So next step is to start the wizard. All right. Let's go back. Once this is done loading, we'll be able to start the wizard. So far, so good. Everything is going according to plan. Sometimes when you're doing this process or when you're going through this process, as with anything that's technology related, the CRM or marketing cloud might misbehave and frustrate you and make this process take longer than it normally should. So if you're working on the consultant side, we typically recommend you, if you're asked for an estimate for how long this process will take to implement for a client, give yourself ample time. So at the minimum, your estimate should be, if you're doing it for the first time, your estimate should be probably 35 to 40 hours. But if you've done it a handful of times, you can get it done in 20 hours or less, right? But when you're doing it for the first time, it might take much longer. The reason you want to give yourself time is, as you saw, some funny error messages might come up. It might take a while for stuff like this to load. You never know what's going to come up. So let's see. So we said, okay, and we're supposed to be able to start the wizard. See, there's nothing here about how long this is going to spin for, right? Now, should we refresh the page or just leave it be? I vote we refresh. Okay, there you go. All right, next step is start the wizard. So as you see, there are two options here. You can choose to do it manually, or you can have the system go through this automatic process, which is the wizard. I suggest you go with the wizard. Okay, so next step. Go next. Click next to move forward. So next, done. Next, done. All right. So what's next? And the connector setup screen, select I agree. And acknowledge all of that jazz. All right, let's Scroll down, permission sets. It didn't say we should do anything with either of these two. So I agree, and now configure locked-in cloud connector. Configuration successful. And at this point, this is where you're allowed to bring out the champagne you put on ice for a while and pop it, all right? Because this is a good sign. If you don't get this far, then don't bother with the champagne. You have some serious work to do. You need more like a Red Bull. Okay, so once you're done with the wizard, you still have some configuration updates to do, but all right, connect to Marketing Cloud within the Salesforce CRM. Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll leave this here for now. Let's see, what exactly will they say? Now it's time to configure the settings, blah, blah, blah. Click the plus icon to navigate to all tab screen. Yeah. We're already seeing connect to Marketing Cloud. So the settings. So these instructions are not quite clear. So once we're done, we have some settings to do. All right, that's fine. I believe instead of going through steps 1 and 2, we already have the prompt for this right here, connect to Marketing Cloud. So how about we just do that? Okay, so now it's asking us to log in. And you have to log in using the credentials for the dedicated Marketing Cloud user that you created. All right, so let's go find my login credentials. I want SFMC, and this is the information for my integration user. Let's get the password, and next, and paste. And let's retrieve the code. Off we go. What's this about? If successful, see, they know what they're doing. They know 9 out of 10 times, you probably won't be successful. But if you are, you could go to whatever the next step is. As it is, we were not. So we have to try and figure out why we're not successful in this step. So let's try to refresh, see if that makes any difference. No? Okay. Let's do this instead. Let's try this again. We'll go Marketing Cloud. Yes. Following the steps here, they say Marketing Cloud, connect to Marketing Cloud. All right. Just before we do, let's duplicate this. Marketing Cloud, yes. It opens up the tab, it launches the connector, and it brings us here. So the next step is connect to Marketing Cloud, all right? Connect to Marketing Cloud. Attempt to dereference a null object. So this is a very vague error message. Not very helpful. So let's see, what could the issue be? All right, let's log out of this. So we're going to log out and log back in as the integration user. Okay. What's my integration user credentials? Okay. Grab that. And that's this. Yes. What is the password? All right. Okay, so logging back in as the integration user. That's good. Let's duplicate that. And now let's go try again. So this is why you need to give yourself a buffer when you're providing an estimate for completing this exercise. So yes, we did 1, we did 2, 3, click on connect to Marketing Cloud. Okay. Yeah, that's not very helpful. What could the issue be? So let me read the instructions again. Yeah, very close to the end. So I did all of this. We did all of this. So for personal update, that's what we did. Okay, doesn't like something, so I'm going to log out as the integration user and log back in as the, what is it? This other user. Okay, so let's have a second window open, go Marketing Cloud. Sometimes when you hit a brick wall like this, you may have to resort to clearing your history. So, Marketing Cloud environment, yes, it is production. Specific increments, yeah, you don't have to do anything there. Okay, folks, I'm not sure what's going on. So we have to continue troubleshooting this. And when you search for this error message online, what do you think you will get? It's caused by a line of code message for a value that doesn't exist. Of course it is. Chances of finding something in relation to Marketing Cloud Connect, very low. So let's go back. You're almost ready to connect. Okay, we've already done this. We've already done that. Let's see, we need to create this like Marketing Cloud API user and Marketing Cloud. And Marketing Cloud connected system user and this mode. Once complete, enter your click connect. We already did this. Not sure why it's giving us a hard time. We need to change anything here. All right, what do you guys say? Incognito. That is an option. Okay. So perhaps we should try that. Sure. I'm open to options. Let's close that. Open up an incognito window. Put this. Yeah. Let's put this on another desktop. Can get it to work. There we go. Okay. So grab that URL, put it here, go this username, and then password. Let's see if this makes a difference. Oh, no. Switch to classic now. The production you saw is more for marketing cloud, not for the CRM. So, okay, we're logged in the cognitive window. Let's duplicate that. Now let's try this again. Marketing cloud. Okay, that's good. Connect. So now we have to log in again. And who do we have to log in as? So where is it? Where did I draw that? So this is where we were. So log in as the Marketing Cloud API user. So my integration user. So this guy. Now imagine trying to memorize all these passwords. It's doable. However, it does work. What if it's too short to memorize the passwords, man? Okay, this might be a good sign. It's asking for this information. We didn't get this far previously. Still, the error message of the year. So incognito did not fix it. That'll be all right. Let's go do some troubleshooting. Okay, let's check to make sure that both our regular user and our integration users have the right. Oh, isn't that helpful? Sure, open it up. Classic. Okay, integration user. Let's make sure we have all the right permissions. Yes. We have the right permission set. Yeah. Let's just double check. No, that's no problem. Permission set. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Now let's check for the other user. Instructor. So we have the right license, right profile, right. Yes. And let's see. Let's go back. That might be the potential reason. So see system user permission set that's not applied here. Now, I don't know if that's the solution, but we shall find out. So let's go back, refresh, and try this again. Shall we? Marketing clouds. Yeah, connect. All right, didn't make a difference. So you know what, let's try something. I think it sees me as and log in. So I have to log out of Marketing Cloud. Okay. Just one more time. So folks, this is part of the learning experience, troubleshooting, because as with most things in life, everything doesn't just happen swiftly and easily and nicely. Sometimes you have to grind. You have to knock your head against the wall once in a while to get the answers you want. Okay, now let's try that again. So you're supposed to log in as, that's my window. Supposed to log in as the integration user. Okay, what's the code? Yeah, this is not helpful. Let's see, what's that? You think so? All right, I'll show it to you. Marketing Cloud. What you're referring to is here on the right, correct? Here. What it's asking about is the Marketing Cloud environment. No, I'll unmute you. I think that might be easier.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking about, was that piece there. Because there isn't a sandbox production in Marketing Cloud, so I was wondering if that it's meaning it wants you to not be in production.
yeah. So the default option is production, and in the here in the step-by-step instructions, there's nothing about changing these or selecting a different Marketing Cloud environment. It's always production. There's no sandbox.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Just when I saw that, I was like, well, wait a minute. There isn't a production in Marketing Cloud. So that's what made me flag, saying, well, maybe that's the reason. Okay.
yeah, so we just have to keep troubleshooting.
Yeah.
It's a bit annoying that we're so close to the end, but that's life. So we did this, we logged in. Let's log out the Marketing Cloud things again. So we shall log out because it's reading that logged in window. Once again, we have to log in. Let's just read the instruction. Using the custom Marketing Cloud API, use that. Yeah. You know what? Let's try my regular user. That's not what it asked for, but that's what we're going to use. Where's that? Let's see if that makes any difference. Of course, yeah, not surprised. Okay, so here's what we'll do. I'm going to log out of everything and start from the top. It's been a while since I saw Classic. How do you log out of Classic? Oh dear. Switch to Lightning. There we go. Classic looks so old. All right. We're going to try this on. Okay. Let's see. What's this? Not as much. It's the same as these instructions. But let's try this. Let's start from the top. So we're going to come back a few steps. So we went through this bit. Actually, here's what I'll do. I'm going to clear the history, and then we'll start from here again. That might help. So give me a minute. Let me clear my history, and we shall start with no prior history. And that's what's messing with this thing. All right, history cleared. So I'm going back to sharing to see my screen, and gone. Okay. So now let's log into, we're supposed to be logged in as our, let's just go back to the top. From step 5. Log back into sharing with your personal admin credentials. Okay, personal admin credentials it is. Sandbox. Personal admin, that's this. I forget the password. Of course I do. Okay, so here we logged in as. Okay, that's wrong. You should be logged in as the regular user, not the integration user. So I mean this username. Folks, bear with me. I know it might seem a bit confusing because of this switch between different login credentials. And that's what is required then. So we're logged in now as the regular user, not the integration user. Okay, so that's good. So we logged in as this guy, and we have done. Remember to switch to Classic before you follow these steps. Interesting. So we should have done all this in Classic. What difference does that make? Okay. We'll follow the instructions to the T. So let's switch to Classic. That's what we've asked for. Switch to Classic. Okay, we're in Classic now. We've done this and these things and all of these things. You know what, just for the sake of following instructions by the book, we will go through this again, just in case there's something in the Classic that has to do. So select Nocturne Cloud, yes, edit policies. I'll come to that comment in a minute. I see it. Admin approach uses a pre-authorized. Okay. Admin uses a pre-authorized as that's like restrictions as immunity expire refresh token. Yes. Perfect. Okay, now save. Right, save we shall. Next, we will go to manage permission sets. Manage permission sets. Select the marketing cloud connected app permission. Marketing cloud connected app permission. So just one, not all of them. Excuse me, just this one. Okay, and save. All right. Process automation. Let's do that. So let's do this. Okay, so process automation. Let's bring that home. And default workflow users empty. I could specify the user with system admin to be default. We suggest user when we created a PLG account. All right. The integration user is our preferred user for this. Can we select like that and save? Okay, dot save. And session settings. So let's go to session settings. In session settings, just click on save. Don't change anything. Scroll to the bottom and save. And that's exactly what we did. Okay, we did all of that in Classic. So now let's try this with again. Find marketing cloud. So I'm going to duplicate this tab. This is the plus. That's what they're referring to. The plus is from Classic. So click on marketing cloud. Okay, click on it again. All right, click verify remote site from the pop-up screen. No, it didn't pop up anything. Actually, where you went for all of this. So it's not going to pop up because you already went for all of that. That's fine. Can we do all of this? And let's say connect marketing cloud. Okay, so since we're connecting to marketing cloud, connect to marketing cloud, yes. Enter the username and password for the marketing cloud API user, which is our integration user. So let's see. And that's this guy. Okay, fingers crossed this works. Same error message in Lightning and in Classic. Now, isn't that classic Salesforce? Okay, what would be helpful is if they put the instructions for how to deal with this error message. but they haven't, which is very typical of them. So let's go check on something inside of Marketing Cloud. This is part of our troubleshooting process. So what I'm going to check for is to make sure that our API user or our integration user has API enabled. So that's a yes. If it was a no, then we need to change that to yes. So everything else looks fine. Let's see. What about the instructor? Which one might this one, but yeah, because this is not our API user. So let me get this balance. I'm going to try. I'm going to try one more time. That's correct. Now I'm going to log in as my regular user. We think it'll make a difference, but nevertheless. Okay, folks, this has been a bit of an exploration. So, not sure what we missed, but let's see. Perhaps. Yeah, all these things. Yeah, these are typical next steps, but if you want to connect settings on the account section. Okay, I'm going to try something else. We're going to try skip along to a next step and see if that will fix this error, and then we'll come back and do the settings. Okay, so let's log out the CRM. All right, I'm happy to do that. This is the nature of Marketing Cloud. So, to the personal admin account. All right. That. So we logged in using personal admin account. That's fine. Select users. Click the name of the Marketing Cloud API user. API user is our integration user. Let's go find them. Integration. Let's move out this way. Yes, click integrate on the salesforce.com/field. Yes. Okay. Integrate. Now we're going to enter the username for our integration user in the CRM. username is this. So what we're doing, just before I'll give it a try. Let's try this first. So what we just did is collect our integration user, the Marketing Cloud profile or the Marketing Cloud dedicated user that we're using to build this bridge. We've connected this integration user with the CRM integration user, right? So previously it said not integrated. Now this is integrated. Okay, so that's what they're asking us to do here, right? That's what we just did. Okay, so that's integrated and that says integrated, that's fine. So we'll need to do this for every Marketing Cloud user who needs to be connected to the CRM. Okay, almost there. Now let's go back and try this step again. So let's see who's supposed to be logged in as. Personal admin credentials. Okay. So let's log in with the personal admin credentials sandbox. That's oh crap, it's logging in with Gmail. Okay. So give me a minute. I'll log back into Gmail and share my screen. That happened because I cleared my history. Okay, sign into Gmail. Let's get the password. So folks, the takeaway from this is the process to do Marketing Cloud Connect integration to the CRM. It can be straightforward, but sometimes there are bumps in the road. Okay. Shouldn't discourage you. 8 out of 10 times it works, but hey, there's always that one time when it doesn't. So let's go back to sharing. So you should see my screen. It's this password. Okay, we're going to try this bit again. Because it's a key component that we have to do. So let's give it a try. One more time. So click on the plus with the Marketing Cloud. If this doesn't work, then I'll give Robert's suggestion a try. Production, that's fine. And then, yeah. Okay, let's edit. Check the API user and check it back. Come on. Save. We'll redo it. API user, yes. Okay, now let's refresh this. No difference, that's okay. And then if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. You just have to keep trying different things. Yeah. Okay, without trying. It's not in the step-by-step instructions, but what happens if we turn this on? Sure. So let's verify. Okay. So it's taking us a few steps back. So it's bringing us here again. Start the message. Sure. Next, done. IP address is fine. Permission set's fine. We agree. Configure. So we went through all of that. So let's try this again. Okay, look at that. So, folks, all we needed to do was switch that checkbox for tenant-specific endpoints. And this is the window we've been trying to get to for probably the last 20 minutes. See here? This is where it's supposed to bring us to. And that's where we can make these configuration changes. All right, so let's carry on. So we successfully logged in. So under the account section on the page, select email. Okay, account section, email. Check. In the send section, select all options. Let's move that to the left. Send section, select all options. All options. In the notification section, enter the appropriate email address to receive any error messages. Okay, in the notifications. So let me just explain what I'm doing here. Think of it this way. There is a middle ground somewhere in the cloud between Marketing Cloud and Sales or Service Cloud, the CRM. That middle ground is what this page is. That's the bridge. That's what manages the settings of the bridge. All right. So what we're saying or what we're doing is we're enabling some features from Marketing Cloud to be available in the CRM. So for example, here, when you hover over this question mark sign, it says the types of sends that can be made from the connector. Emails can be sent from the connector. Okay. The other thing that we enabled are audience types that can be selected or that can be sent to. All right, so we're saying you can send emails to people inside of a report, people inside of a campaign, and you can retry, you can send to people's custom reports. That's what we're doing here. So the next thing we have to do is, so this comes back to the point I made about when you're setting up the integration user, on the CRM side and on the Marketing Cloud side, you want to use an email address that's not tied to a specific person. This should be a general mailbox that typically the IT team monitors, or say the marketing team monitors. So it could be something such as ithelpdesk@companyname.com. All right. So in our case, because I've used this email address for my integration user, I'm going to use it here. And if there's any issues with the integration, or if the integration breaks, notifications will be sent to this email address. That's why we need to provide some email address. Or if you create your integration user based on a specific person, for example, Robert, he gave the example yesterday, his organization currently uses his email address or his profile for the integration user. If Robert leaves this organization and they do not change that email address here from his email address to something else, if there's any issue with this integration, nobody will know. All right. So let's finish up with this bit. So we've added the email address, the tracking section, select web operations. Okay. We want aggregate, individual, we want everything. All right. And then, okay, so this is in bold for a reason. So let me tell you why they made this bold. These selections that we made here is what we're saying, or is the setting we're saying we want. We want data, we want tracking data to be pushed back from Marketing Cloud into the CRM. Okay, we want aggregate level tracking data, we want individual level tracking data. But the reason they made this bold is because it can affect your CRM storage limit. So over time, that tracking data will start to pile up and you start to notice it's taking up a lot of space in your CRM. So if you need to, you can always come back to this middle ground and change or deselect some of these if you don't want it. All right, that's what this section is about. So leave the default for the rest of the settings and click Save Settings. Okay, so the defaults they're talking about here are these. So the tracking frequency, essentially data will be updated from Marketing Cloud into the CRM. Specifically, tracking data will be updated on an hourly basis. All right, so that's the highest frequency you can get for tracking data to get pushed into the CRM from Marketing Cloud. All right, so is there anything else we need to change? We'll save that. Okay, that's a good sign. It's not giving us a silly error message. Now let's see, what else? Save settings. Select at least one business unit from the business unit management screen. All right. So, folks, this is what it's referring to. As you see here, there are two business units showing up, and we know why that is the case. The two business units showing up because in our Marketing Cloud account, we have two business units, right? So here you have to make a selection. Which business unit do you want this connected to? In most cases, it's the parent one, all right? But if for some reason you want to connect a different business unit, you can select it. Or if your organization wants to be able to select multiple business units and have data from each business unit sent into each CRM instance, you can request that from Salesforce support. But for the sake of today's exercise, we're going to select the parent and click on save. Okay. So now, user is not verified in user section. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we've done that bit. The next bit is what we did previously. So we went to integrate our integration user from the CRM with our integration user in Marketing Cloud. That's what we did here. And now that user is integrated. Okay. Hopefully none of you is asleep yet because of how interesting this stuff has gotten. So we've done this. Let's move on. Yes, that's integrated. Almost there. So there's one more unit. And we shall wrap this up. So we've done these three. Now we need to test our connection. Okay, so we've built the bridge. The bridge is in place, but how do we know if it'll work? How do we know if data can flow between both sides? That's why we have to test. So now, in order to test, we have to log in as our API user. So folks, this is why when I was talking about in the beginning, when I was talking about the prerequisites, you need to, if you're doing this for a client, you need to request for 2 sets of login credentials on both systems. So 2 CRM login credentials, both of them having a full Salesforce license and having a system administrator level profile. Vice versa, 2 licenses in Marketing Cloud with the highest level of licenses, so admin, Marketing Cloud admin, to do this exercise. Because as you see in these instructions, they are flipping back and forth between who you should log in as. In one instance, they'll say, log in as your Marketing Cloud Connect API user. In another instance, they'll say, log in as your personal user. That's why you need to have 2 sets of credentials to effectively do this. All right, and that's why you see me switching between credentials to login. All right, so let's get back to this so we can finish this. So I'm supposed to log into Marketing Cloud with my API user credentials. Okay, so right now I'm logged in as my regular user. That's not what they want. So I'm going to log out and then log in as my API user. Let's get that info. Let's see. So this user, let's grab that. And this. Okay. So you see here, I'm logged in as the integration user, not my regular user, which has the name SFMC instructor. So we'll keep it moving. So we've logged in, go to Email Studio, click on email. All right, Email Studio, click on email. Hover over the subscribers. Yeah, all right, subscribers, and then profile management. Profile management. Click create. Okay, what do we create? On the general tab, type first name. General first name. In the Salesforce tab, select first name. Salesforce. All right. Come on. It's not responding. Let's try that again. So in the general tab, type first name. In the Salesforce tab. Okay. So Salesforce tab, select first name in the map to Salesforce lead field pick list. Map to Salesforce lead, first name. And all the way there, no first name. There it is. Okay, so we did that. Scroll down to map to Salesforce account. Okay, just doing the same thing here. First name, good. Select both checkboxes on Salesforce Profile Center. Yes and yes. Hey, second one cannot be selected. Why is that? Select both checkboxes, but only one can be checked. Out here. Of course, it's not allowed. Okay, so this is something else we have to troubleshoot. Why is the other value not checkable? I'm going to cancel. I'm going to refresh and try this again. Okay, so preference management, right? That was preference. Profile, not preference. Okay, profile. Create. General, we want first name. Then we go to the Salesforce tab. First name for lead and first name for. What if we do this in reverse? Let's try that again. We do this one first, and then we do that one. There's still only one box that's checkable. Not sure why this is not checkable, but we will keep moving. We've chosen image already in use. Okay. No, that's not helpful. Step 3 tonight, setting that to be last name. Well, you can't even get to that if this is not working in it. Okay, we'll leave this unchecked and say it's already in use. Oh, I think I know why. Okay. Because we have done this before, that field already exists. This is it. We've done this before for the last cohort. So see what we're trying to do here. The instruction we're trying to get us to do here. It already exists because we did this for the last cohort. So we don't need to repeat this. All right. So first name field already exists, already done. Last name field is right here. It's already mapped. So this is going to save us time. So that's already done. It's asking us to repeat that step for the last name where it's already done. So we don't need to do anything there. And that's the second to the last step before we test. Let's see, are there any questions? Exactly, yeah, that's That's correct. So now that we've set it up, let's do a quick test. First, we'll build a basic email template in Marketing Cloud and send an email to leads inside the Salesforce CRM. Okay, so we have to create an email. All right, let's go to Content Builder. Content. Create. So folks, just before I create it, you notice I organized all of the content here on the left, just like we did for the data extensions. We put all the cohort 5 content in the cohort 5 folder. So you can collapse it and find your stuff. And cohort 6, you can create your own folders underneath this root folder. And if you're a cohort 6 person or previous cohort and your stuff was wrongly placed into the wrong folder, you can move it out of that section and put it somewhere else, all right? But nothing was deleted. Okay, so now let's go ahead with this business. Let's create an email message. Create email message. What do we call it? We want text only, and then we're going to use this in the name. Email we want to create is text only. The name will be this. And then go next, and this will be our subject line. Okay, next. Subject line. And then paste the following code, save and exit. So see here, asking us to create an email. It's going to be text only, but in the body of the email, we're doing some personalization using AmpScript. Okay. So we're going to paste it here and then save and exit. All right. Save and I'm going to save this in my 2023 folder. Yeah, for 2023. Let's keep stuff organized. Safe and good. All right, what's next? Create a test lead in Salesforce CRM. I need to create recipients in CRM. All right, folks. This is where you come in. Please put your email address in the chat because I'm going to use you guys as our test lead in our CRM. All right. So if you want to be part of this exercise, put your name in the chat. Not your name, actually. Your email address. Just put your name and email address, and then I'll create. I just need 3 to 5 records to conduct this test with. All right, so if you open to it, your info in the chat, and it will create you as a lead. All right, thank you. So let's minimize that. Okay, lead number 1. There we go. That. Yeah. Email. So your name is. Yeah, please just put your name also. Zoom is not letting me copy your name from. So, Udrak, what's your last name? Just for the sake of speed. Eaton. Okay, so what else do we need to put there? First name, last name, company, email address. Okay. I shall designate you as Where's the company? No, we don't need company. We do need company. Say you work for Google. How about that? All right, who's our next person? Greg Ide. Thank you, Greg. Next lead. Stop asking me about that. I'll copy that. Take it down. Make sure there are no spaces in the email address, or else it's not going to work. And Greg will say you work for AIG. About that, matches with your last name. I think they used to, I think they're an insurance company. They used to sponsor Manchester United at some point. And then Robert, good. Thank you. And take that out. Email. Okay, .ca, there's no space. Company is already in your email. So say Durham College. All right, Robert can get us free tuition at Durham College. Okay, who else? David. All right, 4 leads will do. Thank you. So this is the last one. NGB. Okay. And David works for Black Force. How about that? Okay, so we've got 4 leads. Thank you to our volunteers. What's the next step? So we've created all these records. We're going to create a test lead report. So we go to reports, new report. Okay, reports. New report. So let's move this cursor. New report. Report type, select leads. Leads. Start. And then enter ID. Click create. What do you need ID for? Go back one step. New report. Leads. Start report. I'm not sure what we need ID for, but I will add it. We need to add the lead ID. I think that's what they're talking about. Yeah. So we need it as one of these fields. So we need lead ID field. So if we scroll, all right. So before I move on, can anyone guess why we need the lead ID field in this report? This column. This column. And street, we don't need. Rating, we don't need. So folks, any guess on why we need the lead ID in this report? There you go. You were both correct. This is our unique identifier for leads. Okay. When we use the lead ID and we send out this email via Marketing Cloud, all of the engagement data, so opens, clicks, unsubscribes, all that sort of information will get pulled back into the CRM based on this unique identifier. All right. That's why we need it. The other reason we need it is to make sure all the information about this unique person is tied to this unique identifier. Because if we use email address as the unique identifier, email address could be shared across more than one person. Two people might share an email address. A family might share an email address, but lead ID is not shared. Contact ID is not shared. So, yes, in the show pick list of leads. Let's click add date field. So we want all leads, not my leads. And then date field. You filter below the date field. We want all time. So what else? One report. That's fine. Refresh. Okay. So we're going to call this. We have a name. Yes, so this is the name you should be using. Marketing Cloud Connect Leads Test. And that's what we're going to call it. Save, and off we go. All right, so we've got everything we need for our email. So save, send a test email from the Salesforce CRM. All right, time for the real test. So in order to do this, so folks, when you're going through this, make sure you read all these prompts in yellow. So if you're doing this, make sure you're sending the email to only yourself. Make sure you're using yourself as the lead. Don't go sending it to live data. All right, so back in the CRM, let's duplicate this tab. So it says, click the plus icon, navigate to the old tab screen, click Marketing Cloud. All right, so we want the Marketing Cloud tab. Yes. Click Find. Then Content Builder. So we should be showing this window here. So it's loading. Okay, sure. Ideally, you should connect. It shouldn't give us any silly error messages. But fingers crossed. Okay. That's a good sign. So here's the window we're supposed to see. So click Find and then click Content Builder. So Find and then Content Builder. All right, so far so good. So inside of our Content Builder, we want to find that email that we created. So if you recall, the email we created in Content Builder is sitting in here, and it's called the Marketing Cloud Connect Test. All right, that's the one. That's what we're going to go look for. So we have to see why it's good to have stuff inside of folders. We know what folder it's in, it's in 2023. We can collapse it, select the fall 2023, and that's our email right there. Okay, next, click the plus in the recipient section. Okay, recipients, click plus. And now, select the Marketing Cloud Admin report folder. Did we Marketing Cloud Admin? There are no reports in the Marketing Cloud Admin report folder. Okay, so we need to move this report into the Marketing Cloud Admin folder. So, let's go back to reports. Yeah, we need to move this guy to Marketing Cloud Admin folder. There you go. Select folder. All right, so now it's in the right folder. So if we come back here and we select this folder again, we're able to see our report. See, underneath the Marketing Cloud Admin report folder is the Marketing Cloud Connect Leads Test report, which is this guy that we created. So now we can select that report. Okay, so the recipient is a report with this name. Okay, so in the From section, select the desired value. This is a test email, any option is fine. So let's go to the From section, and it says we can select any value. So we're going to send the email on behalf of this. Doesn't matter. As you see here, they say any option is fine. Select the checkbox to certify all these people have opted in. So that's our send from, where's the checkbox? That's the checkbox. Okay, so now see, this button wasn't live until we selected the checkbox. So if you don't select it, it won't go live. So next, we click on send. All right, so 4 of you who gave me your email addresses, you're going to let us know if you received, well, if this even goes through. You let us know if you received this email that we've sent. Okay, so see here, the system brings us to this page or this tab inside of CRM to show us details about this send we just performed. All right, so the email was sent to this report. That's the email object number. And it was sent on behalf of this person, on behalf of this email address to, or via this business unit. And we're waiting on tracking data from Marketing Cloud. The tracking data sometimes is slow, all right? But that's where you see information about your send. Okay, so the email is queued to send. So it can take up to an hour to see the email in your inbox, all right? So folks, just keep that in mind. It could take a minute or it could take an hour, just because this is the first time. This is a send, a test send. So there's a bunch of things going on in the background. Does Marketing Cloud know when that lead is converted to a contact and updates the contact ID? Yes, it does. So, if we go back to Marketing Cloud and we go take a look, let's see if that reflects here. Is that showing here? No. So that send we just did was from the CRM, right? So that send we just did was from the CRM. Perhaps it might show up here later on, but it's not shown up yet. Okay, so let's just see. So I think that's the last bit. So while we wait for this email to get delivered to those 4 people, let me point out a few other things in the CRM and in Marketing Cloud. So in a sandbox or production org of the CRM, where the SFMC integration has not been done, you will not see these apps. You will not see an app called Marketing Cloud like this one, and neither would you see this called Email Send. All right, so this is only visible because we've done the integration. All right, so you see here, every email that you send out of the CRM via Marketing Cloud will get populated here. So the first email that we've sent is this test, and it gives you all this data. So as of now, the send is still processing. So this will update later. All right. And it tells you who the email was sent to. And it's this report with that name. Okay. So those are some things to keep in mind on the CRM side. But on the Marketing Cloud side, let's point out a few things that indicate that a connection is in place with this Marketing Cloud account and the CRM. So the first place to check is here. If you just type integration or Salesforce integration and you click on this, it will show you if there's a connection or not. So as we can see here, there's a connection to this Salesforce org, and you can see it's the cohort 6 sandbox, which is this guy. So as you see here, that's in the URL. The other place you can verify if there's an integration is in Contact Builder. So if we come here, so folks, if you recall yesterday, I mentioned and I said to you, you could take a screenshot or take a mental screenshot, a mental picture for this section. So to see if there's a connection or not, we come to Contact Builder, we go to Data Sources, and we click on Synchronized. See here, yesterday, we were unable to see anything in this section. But now we can see that there is a connection to a CRM. And when we click on it, it tells us more about that CRM. And we can see here, it's the cohort 6 sandbox that's been integrated with Marketing Cloud. But at the moment, no object has been brought into, or no object data has been brought into this Marketing Cloud account. We'll do this tomorrow, all right? We'll select what objects we want to bring into this Marketing Cloud account. And this is how we'll do it. Just click on Set Object Up, and we'll select what object and what fields, and it will start pulling in the data for those objects and those fields into Marketing Cloud. And then let's just see if there are questions. So I'll come back to that question. But the other place you can use to verify once an integration is in place is in Email Studio. So if you go to Email Studio and you hover your mouse on the subscribers, you see here, you're able to see Salesforce data extensions and synchronized data extensions. Yesterday, we were unable to see these two options. So if we go to data extensions, you recall yesterday, all we could see was just the data extensions folder. We were unable to see Salesforce data extensions folder or the synchronized data extensions folder. We'll talk more about these two tomorrow, right? And you'll find out what the difference is between the synchronized, the Salesforce, and the regular data extensions. What else do I need to point out to you? I think that's it for the integration. So that's the final step. When this email gets delivered, this email that we sent to those 4 people in the leads report, then we know for sure that the bridge has been built properly, the connection is in place, and data is going successfully from one side to the other. All right? That's when you know your job is done, right? But tomorrow I'll point out one more thing that still needs to be done for any user who needs access to, any CRM user who needs access to these marketing cloud capabilities from the CRM. Okay, so we'll need to integrate other users who need access. So for example, right now, I'll leave that for tomorrow, just so I do not overwhelm you with information. So let's answer the question that came in. So Robert is asking, what's the difference between aggregate and individual? So aggregate tracking results will be, let's say, for example, this email 85208 that was sent to 138 people. The aggregate data for this is across this 132 or 138 people, the open rate was 32. The deliverability was 86. That's aggregate for the whole group of people. Individual information is for each individual. So if we come here, go into this. Once the data shows up, you'll be able to see the aggregate data for all records that were sent the email. But for the individual results, you'll be able to see it on each individual lead. So for example, if we go to Robert's lead record, and we go to the details section, we'll be able to tell if there's supposed to be a section where we see, right here. So see here, the individual email results. That's where we'll be able to see what email Robert was sent and the results for that email message. Did Robert open it? Did he click? Did he unsubscribe? That's the individual email results versus the aggregate. Make sense? That's what we were selecting in this settings section for Marketing Cloud. So we said we wanted individual data pulled back into the CRM, and we also wanted aggregate data pulled back into the CRM from Marketing Cloud. So that's what the difference is. Okay, so but for now, the results haven't shown up because the email is still in the process of being sent. So, but it will go through. I expect it to go through. But we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow if it did or did not. And I'm sure the 4 leads that we created, those 4 people will let us know if they received the message or not by tomorrow. All right, so this is where you can get additional information about your email message. All right, any other questions? Folks, any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? Let's minimize that. Yes, Alberchuku, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Abby, for your time. So I was gonna ask you. Sorry, my voice is echoing. Would you recommend a forecast methodology? Let's say, for instance, a company wants to they want to estimate the total number of subscribers they would have and the number of email or messages they will send per subscriber. So let me give a background. The organization in place wants to, I know you mentioned in the previous classes that mobile connect to something different, right? But let's say the organization wants to apply for a mobile connect. They want to start SMS through Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And now in your application form to the aggregator, to the carrier, you're being asked a question like, what is the estimate of number of subscribers you have for this SMS you're sending, and the number of messages you send, right? And they need you to give them a forecast methodology. So how would you go about trying to think about or calculate? So what method did you use to calculate the number of people you send per messages if you've not deployed that kind of SMS before?
So that's beyond the scope of this class, but the simple approach to that will be, let's say they have a CRM, yes, and they have whatever the number of contacts or leads they have. You'll have to run a report to see, of all these leads and contacts, how many of them do we have their phone numbers, their mobile phone numbers? Because if the organization has not been collecting that information historically, then it will not help in their case in terms of starting to use Mobile Connect. But that's a simple starting method. Run a report, see how many leads and contacts have mobile phone numbers in your system. That can answer your first bit in terms of how many people you'll be communicating with. In terms of how many messages you'll be sending, that's hard to tell. It really depends on the organization's plan. What kind of messages do they anticipate they'll be sending? Are these just transactional messages or are these promotional messages? So you might just need to get some more guidance from Salesforce. Because when you're going through the Mobile Connect implementation process, you're working with your account executive, you're working with folks from Salesforce, and you can ask them questions. You can have them guide you through this process. They'll ask you some open-ended questions. What kind of organization you are, how large your audience is, what they have seen in the past for similar organizations like yours. And they can give you a range to say, okay, for similar organizations that we've worked with in the past that were in your similar industry, this is the number of messages they typically request for when they're setting up Mobile Connect in the beginning. So you have to connect with the folks at Salesforce that are helping you with this process. All right. So that's that. Any final questions in the last 3 minutes? Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue to verify if our test email went through and we will round up on Marketing Cloud Connect and move on to a different topic. But the first at least 30 minutes, we'll use that to just round up on Marketing Cloud Connect. Okay, folks, thank you for your patience as we went through this implementation exercise for Marketing Cloud Connect. I think in the last cohort, it took even longer than this because of some silly error messages that popped up as you go through the process. But so far, so good. We will be in touch. Talk to you tomorrow.